reconciliation, and collaboration. We'll call to order at 7 p.m. Just prior to us moving on, I'll just welcome the gallery today. This is our largest gallery in quite some time. And maybe just a quick reminder, if you have a cell phone on you, please put it on silent. Thank you. All right, that the agenda for the November 24th, 2025 meeting be approved as amended or presented and attached to form part of the said minutes. Councillor Bass. Maria, does administration have anything to add? Council, anything to add today? Okay, so as presented, all those in favor? That's carried. And next up, declaration of conflict of interest. Kylie?
10.1.5, because it has to do with the utility changes on rentals, and I have rental properties for discussion.
Okay, thank you. Jeff?
I as well, I'm going to declare on 10.1.5, my wife is the chair of the Nipawin Housing Authority.
Okay. All right, so we'll have 2 on that one. If you happen to see anything that you missed, please let us know when we get to it. That the minutes of the November 10th, 2025 regular meeting of council be approved as presented. Councillor Vic. Everybody's had a chance to read through those minutes. Any errors, omissions? Okay, Joyce?
I did notice a spelling error on 9.2.2. Councillor Newdoff's name is spelled.
Oh. Okay.
That's all I noticed.
Yeah, we can get that updated then. Perfect. All right, anything else on the minutes? Okay, with that change, all those in favor? That's carried. That the RCMP report for the month of October 2025 be received and filed. Councillor Stewart. All right, and with that, we'll turn it over to the staff sergeant.
Perfect, thank you. For month of October, you guys should have received it. Pretty sure I sent it out before I took off for a few days off. Total calls for service month of October is 570, bearing in mind that 198 of those were traffic offenses or traffic tickets. This is all inclusive of our entire area, so not just Nipawin Speed Detachment, but any additional units that come in, traffic services, crime reduction team, that kind of stuff. So with those taken out, you're looking at roughly 390 files for the month of October, which is on parts, it's going down now that we're getting to the colder months. As far as crime stats for year to date compared to last year, up to September 30th or October 1st, persons crimes, we've had a 11% reduction in persons crimes since from the 24 or 25-26 year to the 24-25 year. Property offenses, same thing, down 7% from the previous fiscal year. The only place where we've seen an uptake in offenses or an uptake is our fail to appear. So people fail to attend court and we have to go and apprehend them and they're out on warrant again. So they receive an additional charge for a fail to appear, and that's where we've seen an increase with them getting released by the courts. To highlight over the last little bit, one major incident, one other incident. Everybody obviously knew about the murder that took place. That took up quite a bit of resources for a little bit. We had several different detachments, IDENT, we had the youth Saskatchewan Marshals out here assisting us with it. And we also here a week or two ago had the crime reduction team, our emergency response team come in. People have seen in the paper with the significant seizure of firearms in the community and potential going forward from that investigation with the assistance of our crime reduction team and our emergency response team. Other than that, I have nothing for other major files that are pertinent, but anybody has any questions, I can definitely see if I can answer them.
Any questions or comments for the staff sergeant tonight? Right. Well, thank you so much for the work you've been doing, and keep it up.
We'll work on it.
Right. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Right, anything else, council? All right, all those in favor? That's carried. That the financial statements for the period ending October 31st, 2025 be approved as presented. Councilor Blair. Maria, anything to add on the financial statements? Pretty straightforward. Okay. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? That's carried. That the financial reports for November 24th, 2025 be approved as presented. Councilor Stewart. Again, Maria, anything standing out there?
Nothing, nope, just your regular AP, same for the last 2 weeks.
Any questions or comments? All those in favor? That's carried. That the reports of senior administrative officials recorded as items 9.1 to 9.2.3 be received and filed. Councilor Blair. All those in favor? That's carried. That the department monthly reports be received and filed. Councilor Bass. Okay, and with that, we will start with corporate services. Maria.
Thank you. I don't have anything to expand on with my report, but I did want to extend congratulations to Derek on achieving his professional economic developer certification. That's all I have.
Any questions or comments for Maria? Jeff?
Just the one budget meeting we have planned on the 16th. Do we have a follow-up planned as well?
At this point, we just had the one, and then if we need to move it to the new year, we'll plan it at that point.
Okay.
Our anticipation is that we can get through the majority of it that evening and then take it to council if we need to with our first meeting in January, if there's any additional topics that we need to discuss or.
Any other questions or comments? Thank you, Maria. Next up is community services and Derek.
Thank you. I don't really have much to add to the report. The summary is just all the speakers. I took a summarization of all the speakers and what they had to say. If anybody wants more in depth, we can talk about individual speakers or anything, but it's summarized. It's very it was AI, very AI orientated and very collaboration, partnerships, corridors, things like that.
Any questions or comments for Derek? Maria kind of stole my thunder. I was gonna offer the congratulations too, so again, congrats for that. All right, thank you, Derek. Next up is leisure services and Chelsea.
Thank you. So we hosted or held the Haunted Hollows in partnership with the museum and Elkie Miller High School. I can't say enough about that partnership and how successful it was. It had a lot of people going through the museum in a different light, I guess, a more spooky light, but it was really good. And we are continuing to work with the museum and some continued partnerships there for more programming. We continue to have some operational concerns or ongoing maintenance concerns, I should say, at the Evergreen. Staff have been very good at addressing them, and we are preparing the restaurant area for the new tenant to take over in January, so they've been very busy with that. We did have 2 rooftop units give us some grief, but it looks like we've been able to repair those quite cost effectively, so that's good. The Centennial Arena continues to show some brand line issues. So staff are working on long-term solutions for that. We're investigating a few different products that we can use in the lines just to stop the brine from leaking. And then we have received a report from Communities in Bloom. So Communities in Bloom is a challenge that we do every year. And we received 4 blooms for the town of Nipawin again this year. So that was a big kudos for the community stepping up and participating in that again. That would be it.
Thank you, Chelsea. Any questions or comments? It was great to hear about the Communities in Bloom again. We did well, so. And last up is Protective Services and Paul.
Yeah, I guess kind of the same old, same old. I guess if you look to the left, you can see the killer animal that almost destroyed my bylaw officer. He could not get over the fact that that little kitten took big chunks out of his arm, so I had to listen to that for several days. It was quite funny to see that when I got there and saw what it actually was, I was like, really? That's what all the complaining was about? But good for him. He pulled on through. Other than that, the same challenges that we've had for the last several months. Things have seemed to gotten better in terms of the encampments that we've been finding around town. Those have, I wouldn't say dried up, that they have slowed right down. We have been working hand in hand with the Oasis, and I look at that like it's a good thing. We've got them as opposed to being congregated all over town. We do have the majority of our homeless population now is situated in one area. Whether we're going to have some people in the gallery say that they like that or not, I'm sure we're going to hear tonight. I know myself, I would much rather have them all in one area where they're safe. That's my 2 cents. That's John Q. Public can have their opinion on that, and I'm sure we will hear, and that's okay. That's what we're here for. So, but other than that, that's it.
Thank you, Paul. Are there any questions or comments for Paul? All right. So now we'll do the vote. All those in favor? Those reports. That's carried. That council hereby agrees to award the supply and installation of 1 columbarium for Maple Hill Cemetery to Nelson Granite in the amount of $40,200 plus GST, quoted in RFQ number 2025-01, as recommended by the GM of Leisure Services, and that the funding in the amount of $35,000 plus GST be allocated from the cemetery capital account number 441-510-820, and $5,200 plus GST be allocated from the cemetery reserve account 310-100-502 to complete this purchase for installation in spring 2026. Councillor Watts. And Chelsea, I'll maybe let you speak to this a little bit.
Sure, thank you. So this is a project that was in the 2025 budget. We have a need for columbariums at the Maple Hill Cemetery. Burials have kind of shifted more from traditional burials to cremations, and columbariums are more the way that cemeteries are focused on and going towards. We did an RFQ for some quotes, and after a review of the cost, durability, construction method, Nelson Granite is the one company that does their columbariums from only granite, and the whole unit is granite, and it's from Canada. So we would recommend that company to go forward and purchase. It would be installed then in the spring. Once it thaws, we have to do a concrete pad, and then we'll place the columbarium on.
Thank you, Chelsea. Are there any questions or comments?
I have a question. So there's 84 units. How much do you sell each unit for?
That will come back to council,
Okay,
but typically they are around 2,000 a unit. Uh, And that varies. The top ones sell for
Mhm.
more than the bottom ones. People like to be at the top. But Humboldt, the city of Humboldt has very similar, and they sell them. They're around 2 to 2,400 for the top, and then go down a little.
and I see that there's a 30-year warranty. So what happens when they need repairs? Because there's 84 people in there.
Correct.
Is it 84 families that do the repairs, or is that the town that does it?
Typically, the town would do
Okay.
it. Yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you.
for sure.
Any other questions or comments?
I will say that the plan would be then, once we generate revenue from this convering, we would purchase another one with that revenue from this one.
Okay,
That would be our plan going forward.
excellent. Okay, if there's no more questions, all those in favor? That's carried. That the town of Nipawin hereby agrees to accept the role of anchor agency and payroll host for the 2-year Community Connector Social Prescribing Pilot funded by the Saskatchewan Seniors Mechanism, including the establishment of a 0.5 FTE term Community Connector position on the town payroll for the duration of the pilot, with all wages and benefits funded by the grant and budgeted to be cost neutral to the town as recommended by the GM of Community Services. And that employer oversight be provided through the Community Services Department with day-to-day work guided by a multi-agency advisory committee and suitable workspace assigned at either the Enterprise Center or Tourism Office within existing resources. Councillor Bass. And Derek.
So there's a lot of information to read on this one. If you guys read it all, I tried to summarize it as good as I could in the report, but ultimately what it is, it's a position where a physician or mental health or social services can prescribe a community connector to be able to meet with the person to alleviate stress on the healthcare system. So they would set you up with Nipawin Housing or a realtor or the seniors group across the road. And they do it in Yorkton, Shaunavon, Weyburn, Estevan, I believe, so far, the 4 original pilots. And it's been very successful, and healthcare has been all over it. As far as being the anchor agency, it's been taken on by the town and all except for maybe Moose Jaw. It was Moose Jaw, not Estevan, sorry. Except for Moose Jaw, they had a different service group take the anchor agency. It's minimal to the payroll. I talked to Kim, and she said it wouldn't be more than 5 minutes of work to add it once it was added. So it's nothing, and they will fund the phone and the mileage as well. They phone today.
Okay.
So it's at zero to add a service to the community for senior citizens.
And that's also for youth, isn't it?
No,
Or
this one
just-
is targeted to 55 plus.
Oh, I see, okay. I guess I read too much.
Any other questions or comments for Derek? I like the way you put that in at the end. It's an added service for the community at no cost to the community. So, okay, if there's no questions, all those in favor? That's carried. That resolution number 2025-451 and subsequent resolution number 2025-491 be amended as follows. That council of the town of Nipawin hereby agrees to support the application for a Canada Housing Infrastructure Fund, CHIF, grant for Walleye Park subdivision as recommended by the land planner and GM of Community Services, and that council agrees to meet legislated standards, meet the terms and conditions of the CHIF program, commit to paying the applicant's share of the eligible costs and ongoing operating and other costs associated with the project, and ensure legislative and regulatory requirements will or have been met, including requirements for a federal environmental assessment process, provincial environmental assessment process, and requirements for Indigenous consultation or engagement. Councillor Blair. And Jeff, did you want to speak to this a little bit?
Certainly. So we're hoping to apply to the CHIF grant. Just as we were doing that process, there is a suggested resolution wording that the province wants to see communities submit with their application. So that is the purpose of the resolution that was put in front of council. I did include a draft layout of the subdivision as the attachment, just for council to see as well. And that's it. Well, the application's due on Thursday, I believe.
Excellent. Any questions or comments? Okay. All those in favor? That's carried. The reports of standing and special committees recorded as items 10.1 to 10.1.5 be received and filed. Councillor Vic. All those in favor? That's carried. That council hereby agrees not to proceed with the derelict buildings pilot project program at this time, as recommended by the Operations Standing Committee at the meeting held November 13th, 2025. Councillor Vic. And normally I'd ask Michelle to speak to this a little bit, but
I actually wasn't at the meeting.
no.
We just felt that there was way too many gray areas and it was taking a big liability by taking that on for the town, so. Until we had a little clearer guidelines, a little different rulings, we decided to opt out of it for now.
The liability was getting dumped on the town,
Yeah, all of it.
so. Okay, any questions or comments? Okay, all those in favor? And that's carried. That council hereby approves the draft landfill user agreement as amended, and that the agreement be forwarded to the user municipalities requesting ratification as recommended by the Operations Standing Committee at the meeting held November 13th, 2025. Councillor Watts. And you want me to put you on the spot again, Stacy?
Go ahead.
Okay, this was the draft agreement. There weren't really any changes to be made. The rates were gonna stay the same again. Just continuing on, we'll probably review it down the road in a couple years, once the weigh scale's been in operation for a couple years, things like that. So that was,
I think the only thing that we did put in there was a little thing about the per capita fee may be subject to increase should a user municipality not provide a recycling option for their residents.
that's right, Joyce.
Yeah.
Yeah, just as a way to try to push recycling, make sure everybody's doing their part.
Right.
Any other questions or comments on that agreement? Okay, all those in favor? That's carried. That council hereby agrees to join the North Central Waste Management Corp. As recommended by the Operations Standing Committee at the meeting held November 13th, 2025. Councillor Blair. And Jamie is not in at the moment. I'll see if I can quickly summarize this. Basically, by joining this corporation, it's going to allow us to maintain local control over our recycling program. If we don't do this, then the province will step up and take control. And we won't, we have no control over who picks it up, how often they pick it up. If we don't produce enough recycling, they might not pick it up.
Mhm.
The charges.
Yeah, and
for
charges.
being
Yeah.
short.
And joining this corporation has no cost to the town, and we can opt out at any time.
Within 30 days.
Yes, on a 30-day notice. So it's just a way by joining this group to allow us to maintain control over our recycling. There any questions? Okay. All those in favor? That's carried. That council hereby agrees to explore the option of transitioning the current bylaw enforcement officer position with a community safety officer, CSO, as recommended by the Operations Standing Committee at the meeting held November 13th, 2025. Councillor Blair. And there's not a lot of talking points. We were just looking at, sorry?
Just exploring some options there.
Yeah, exactly. Looking at, we'll potentially still have some form of bylaw enforcement, but transitioning that position more to a CSO, community safety officer. They'll be able to write some tickets and some fines a little bit more expansive than what current bylaw can do.
Yeah, and the RCMP did make a note that it would be useful for the town to have that position because they can have them, help them out with other things that isn't necessary a police duty, where they can leave their officer out in the field more.
Remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, they typically work 9 to 5. They can deal with moving traffic instead of just parking traffic, so.
Yeah.
But we've looked into this in the past and it was cost prohibitive, so,
Yeah.
but I'm not opposed to looking again at it. But I just know that it was quite expensive, especially for 2.5 positions on the taxpayer, so we'll see what numbers they come up with, and also the additional jobs that they can do, because they're not going to help at 3 o'clock in the morning or 2 o'clock in the morning. They're not gonna be on the road doing that work.
If they get called to assist, or then that's.
Depends if this isn't, depends on their scope and what they can actually do. Everybody has a scope of practice, and CSOs are not RCMP, so
They can direct traffic
traffic
and things like that.
in the event of a
And
disaster.
So in that sense, it could help with the fire department as well.
Go ahead, Paul.
I do apologize. You guys know me. I'm generally a keener and I don't miss out on any meetings. This was probably a meeting I probably should have sat in on when. I will definitely find out some more information. I went to my my chief colleague whenever I'm looking for information, the Humboldt fire chief, and he actually did have a lot of really good stuff he was able to share with me. So I will get a bunch of information and present that to council at a later date once I've explored some other options. I've heard a lot of the negative side, which is what I've been used to hearing for the longest time, the last few years. But I did get some positive notes this time. So more than happy to look into it for you guys.
One of the areas that you could probably look at is Candle Lake. Apparently they hired 2 in full year and 3 in the summer. And the RCMP said that they were very beneficial to their department.
Yeah, you're off the hook, Paul, because we had a meeting with the staff sergeant and he spoke very highly of CO program in Candle Lake and others, and that's why it got on here.
Oh, yeah.
Because how he spoke so highly of them and how they help know what the scope is in Candle Lake remains to be seen, but they were a very important part of their patrolling up there.
And I believe Michelle and the rest of staff are looking at it budget wise already too, obviously being that we're in
budget,
in
and
that time. So
and then the capital requirements, the budgets, it'll be a lot. Like I said, the only reason I'm speaking is not against having a community safety officer, we've looked at this before, and it was very, very
Yeah,
pricey.
she did mention, Michelle did mention that there was possibility of vehicles available.
Yeah, that would help a lot.
Are there any other questions or comments on the CSO? Okay, all those in favor? That's carried. All right, 10.1.5. This side.
Yeah.
Yes. That council hereby agrees not to amend the proposed water and sewer rates bylaw or exempt property owners from the requirements of the bylaw as recommended by the Operations Standing Committee at the meeting held November 13th, 2025, and that second and third readings of the bylaw be considered at this meeting. Councillor Vic. Okay, did you maybe want to start the conversation, Stacy?
Well, the conversation, the local housing authority approached us on our charge on our meters for water, and they wanted to know if they could get discounted or exempted from. And what we had concluded is we couldn't do it for one if we didn't do it for all. So we just left it as is. We won't be giving any special privileges to any of them.
Any questions or comments? I know we talked about it for quite a bit, but yeah, like Stacy said, if we're gonna make exemptions once, then everybody's gonna want an exemption. So it's better continuity for us to
Right.
maintain. So. Okay, all those in favor? That's carried.
Okay.
That the reports of committees and boards recorded as item 11.1 be received and filed. Councillor Newdorf. Everybody had a chance to read the minutes from the museum? All right, all those in favor? That's carried. That the regular meeting of council recess to a public hearing to hear submissions in support of or in opposition to discretionary use permit application 25-35 for a year-round shelter and discretionary use permit application number 25-36 for a multi-unit dwelling. Councillor Fast. All those in favor? That's carried. Okay. As presiding officer, I hereby declare the public hearing open. This public hearing is established under the authority of section 24 of the town of Nipawin, bylaw 1170/23, the council procedures bylaw. The purpose of this hearing is to hear submissions in support of or against development permit application 25-35, discretionary use in accordance with the Planning and Development Act 2007, and to hear submissions in support of or against development permit application 25-36, discretionary use in accordance with the Planning and Development Act 2007. I would ask the Chief Administrative Officer, or in this case Maria today, to introduce the matter under consideration.
Sure. So The Oasis is looking to have a year-round shelter that would be available primarily in the cold weather. If that program goes well, they would like to extend it through and have it available year-round. Currently, they are just looking to run their program during the winter and in the cold. The location would be away from the street, next to the Oasis building, would be sheltered from the road with some trees. I guess that's just what they're coming forward with today.
Does council have any further information they would like from administration? Okay. Now comes the public participation. I would ask if there's anyone who wishes to speak in favor of this matter. And if anybody would like to talk, we'll get you to raise your hand and identify who you are.
So my name is Lee Eisbester. I'm the Housing and Homelessness Coordinator for the Nipawin Oasis. I've been in this position for 6 years. I oversee all of the programming that includes the shelter as well as our 7 supportive housing homes that we have in the community. I see the need every day on the front lines of why this is very much needed in the community. I see the impact that it can make. I have lots that I could share and talk about. We've been very successful. This year alone, we opened October 1st. We were able to house 2 individuals into their own housing from the shelter into housing. Having a space where people have a sense of belonging, where they can ask for the help that they need. I also do a lot of referrals for treatment for individuals struggling with substance abuse disorder, which really isn't part of my job description, but seeing the need for it and trying to fill those gaps and be that person that they feel comfortable enough to come to when they're ready for that, and, you know, walking beside them to ensure that it's understandable for them, because the process can be really, really tricky. We have some really amazing successes within our shelter. We have amazing staff who are so dedicated and empathetic and compassionate to the most vulnerable in our community. You know, my job is to advocate, obviously, but to also educate, to remove stigmas that are attached around homelessness, to ensure that people are aware of what the situation is. It's not all people who are struggling with substance abuse. It's not all, you know, single people who don't want responsibilities of life. We have families with children who are also a huge part of this demographic. So we did a point in time count last year, the first one ever in rural Saskatchewan. You can YouTube, CBC came and interviewed us and spent the day there. It was really successful. We had a group of volunteers and our staff who just works tirelessly to provide the supports and services and the stats through Métis Nation. It showed that we do have an issue here in our community, and we can wish it away all we want. It's not going anywhere. Neither are the people. If we can better support the most vulnerable in our community, give them that place where they can come, feel a sense of belonging, you know, have people to listen to them. We definitely want to be able to provide that. Human beings are human beings at the end of the day. We're all on a journey. We're all on different paths. We need to support one another and see the human first. So that's.
Thank you very much. Sorry, I saw a hand.
I'm Siobhan Miller. I'm originally from Cumberland House. I'm a program support worker at the Oasis. It's been about 6 months, and I'd just like to point out that as a person who lived around Auburn, Saskatoon, and Regina, there has been nothing like the Oasis in terms of helping vulnerable people, where we make them feel like people. Even the food bags we make every day, it's a lot than what I experienced. So, really good thing. But
Thank you. Yes.
My name is Nadine, and some of you may recognize me from looking at Harold's. I became a member of the board. Reason I became a member of the board of Oasis is because I saw a great need in our community. Some people, like I've lived in Saskatoon, Regina as well. My family goes back to Cumberland House and to all the others. I can relate on many different ends. I used to work on a board for the Saskatoon Schizophrenia Society, as well as the Saskatchewan Schizophrenia Society. And we did all kinds of talks and everything. The thing I've always said, and it doesn't matter who you are or what journey you're on, that's someone's daughter, someone's father, someone's uncle. It's a family member, it's still a person. And though we can say we don't want to see that, it's still going to be there regardless. That person needs our help. The fact that I'm hearing, even in Saskatoon, Regina, and that there's a place called Oasis for that many miles away, they can hear of the work that we are doing here in this town. So we have an opportunity not just to be a place where, oh yes, doesn't matter if I move, I can go to Nipawin and they will help me. That's a good thing, because if they can't get the help that they need, regardless of where they are, we can be that beacon. And I think that's what says a lot about our community as a whole. That if we can give them the opportunity to better themselves and to become the citizens that we all want for them and who they want themselves to be, then I think that says a lot for our program and for the building that we're suggesting.
Thank you. Go ahead.
My name is George Cook. I'm from Cumberland House. I'm an elder at the Oasis Common Sport River Transporter. Anyway, we'll be calling upon the First Nations around here, like Red Earth, Shoal Lake, Cumberland House, James Smith, to try and help us with this dilemma here in Nipawin. I've worked in different places like Oasis, Nepal. They have a homeless shelter there. I worked in Winnipeg at the Main Street project, and I see a lot of compassion here in Nipawin here, and so like I say, we'd like to. There's a lot of potential of getting funding from different, working with different agencies like government or the schools and institutes, like big, like universities and all that. We want to be, we're potentially getting into our own band in Cumberland House. They have two bands there. One is Cumberland House Free Nation, the other one's Swamp Creek Tribe, which was the original band. So we're getting into that, and we're going to be trying to work with Oasis when we get our own band together. And we're thinking of land-based programming, taking people out to the land and reconnect them to the land, because they're lost when they come here. When they come from the land, like from Cumberland, they know the land and they know where they come from, and they have their own language, and they have their, what they can do, like skills and whatever. If they want to go hunting, fishing, whatever, they can. Those things we can teach them, and they know they belong to somebody. once we have that, land-based teaching, yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot of that. Like we can take a lot of those kids out, or even the people that are addicted to meth here, we can take them out, leave them out there and teach them what he. I mean, well, potentially, a lot of, I see a lot of visions in what we can do with working with the First Nations communities, plus working with people and different other agencies, and even government. And we can teach a lot of that. Like, for instance, the justice system. They don't know about our Indian laws. Indian laws, they didn't listen to us when they signed treaties. They had Indian laws then, and those women were trying to get those laws in there with the men, but the European people didn't want to listen to women. So they're powerful people. Like that's why I work there. They're all like warriors, warriors. So like yeah, we can teach a lot of that stuff to people that don't understand our ways, our traditions, our language, our way of life. All we want to do is have a pure glass of water and live in harmony with the creation. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I just point one thing out? George also is a cultural leader. He also does NA and AA meetings. Right now, we're doing once a week, but we're gonna bump it up to twice a week, and he comes in Wednesdays at 8:30 to the shelter and does those meetings with the shelter participants who are there. It's wonderful to watch because everybody joins. There is not a single participant who is sitting away. They're all at the table. And he's going to start doing a healing circle as well as the participants. So I just wanted to, he wears many hats. Point that out.
Yeah, and there's the other thing is we're going to be entering into the alternative sentence. So once we get into that, there'll be cultural, like we're going to be trying to start a drum group with the drummer that like things like that, cultural stuff. So the people will be a little uplifted and proud of who they are and empower them. Yeah, so that's what we're looking at the justice alternative justice stuff. And then it works, but it takes a while.
Thank you. Yes.
My name is Mike Dorian, and I'm tribal chief of the whole area, and I like what I hear. Right now, I'm dealing with federal government and general of Canada, and lawyers. I like what I hear. We're working on these issues too, trying to help these people. We're going to try to build cabins and a place where they can go. Our people. I go all over the place, and I see it wherever I go, suffering and all that. This will be you'll be hearing from us. There, we've been dealing with all this issue. I find out that there's two treaties. It's a signatory treaties, nation to nation, along the river flowed and grass flowed, and there's Indian man. That's the city disturber. And if you torture the people, And the government made that, and then we catch them. Now they're just getting involved really well. I never spoke to many ministers in my life. And we've even brought some here in Nipawin. Federal government and provincial government, and we have meetings. It's a good thing. I work with George and we go all over the place. And it's the same. Everywhere we go, we have meetings like this, other places, and then they bring up the same issues. That's what's been happening. And now I asked for to new locations, and we don't want any problems with people with the Nipawin and all over the place, the Tubing Lake and all that, because that's all our land and waters, all the way. I didn't know that till I worked on this. I'm glad I did. I worked with a lot of powerful people. I don't do much around in the local down here, but I see what they need and then I'll be working with them. We're just pushing through our treaties. The minister said everything is pushed through. All we have to do is wait for the set up everything. And they owe us piles of money.
Thank you. Yes,
Hi, I'm Elis Larson. I know some of you. Been blessed with the opportunity to step into a role on board with the Oasis. Got to know Lee and Joy 3 or 4 years ago, probably. Just when I was at Nipawin Chrysler and being proximity to being neighbors. I'm just so impressed with the work and the compassion that the Oasis has done and really provided a service that I haven't seen anyone else or any other community-based organization provide. I have the unique perspective also being a partial business owner in town too, to see the economic benefits and opportunities that exist as our community continues to grow, and we as business owners and residents and people that live in the community and the surrounding community have an opportunity to pour into this area. I've got a saying, probably won't come out quite right, but our community is only as strong as the most vulnerable people in it. And seeing how the Oasis has come together in order to help the folks that really need it. And when they put together the warm-up shelter last year, we obviously on the board had some concerns, primarily safety for the staff and for the people coming in. And of course, probably from my perspective, not ever having experienced that type of situation, probably a little bit of stigmatism on my part. Just not really understanding and being fully briefed and, having been exposed to it. But the more the time that I spend with people that are involved in the Oasis and give them an opportunity to know them and the people that they serve, it's really a tremendous opportunity, I think. And like we've already witnessed and we've heard, the situation's not getting better. It's getting more dire. It's getting worse. Economic conditions are falling apart for lots of people, and it's people we wouldn't necessarily expect. Having this as a catch-all or last resort for some folks to give them the dignity, the safe space that they need. And I understand some concerns from the community, absolutely I do. But again, we think of the alternative and the situation that could exist without something like this, and to the future and the potential that this opportunity brings in growth for our community. To bring everyone together, and as we grow stronger together, I think it's an opportunity for the Northeast and for Nipawin in particular to take a huge step forward. I appreciate the changes that I've seen on council and the opportunities that exist there to take that step forward, and I just think that this is part of that. Just appreciate the opportunity to share it.
thank you.
About one thing, I like what I see, what Oasis are doing. They're protecting the people, the vulnerable people. And that's hit the heart when you see that. And especially what you see, what they're going through. I like to see you walk around the fact that nowhere to go, Some of them live in a bush and some of them made an igloo and that. But I was going to take a picture of that igloo over there, but the town went and knocked it down. Well, you see, people like these guys here, they, they need, they need support and to build, like, whatever they want. You see, I'm gonna tell them, I spoke to Weyerhaeuser and I spoke to, Dunkley, Fire River Sawmill. They gave us lumber to build cabins because those are our trees they took. We just found that out. The province told on Weyerhaeuser, they're the one that went to your area and take everything, you know? I just asked, there's nothing wrong with asking, right? They tell you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes,
I'm residential and I live near the Oasis. My biggest concern with them building the shelter is more foot traffic, more problems.
Yeah.
We are surrounded 24/7 with a lot of stuff where we live.
can I, just one,
Yeah.
we haven't called on those speaking against it yet.
Oh, okay, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
No, that's okay. So we'll make sure you're first up.
Okay.
So officially, I'm gonna ask a second time if there's anyone who wishes to speak in favor of this matter. Okay, and a third and final time, I would ask if there's anyone who wishes to speak in favor of the matter. Sorry?
Yeah, I used to work at Kansas, which was a career and employment office. And we helped a lot of, the Oasis programs. So I've seen Oasis firsthand, how they operate and what they've done over the years for 15, 20 years. And I also volunteer a little bit when I can there. I'm helping with the drawings. And I'm also familiar with what it's like to live in a First Nations community and live in mixed communities where people need support. They need support, and like there might be issues that a shelter will bring, but these issues can be resolved, and the good that comes out of it might outweigh anything bad that might come out of it.
And I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name.
Elsie LaRock.
Elsie, thank you. Okay, seeing no one else, I would ask if there's anyone who wishes to speak against this matter. Yes.
So I live in residential area and we have a lot of foot traffic 24/7. I'm not opposed of a shelter being built, but I don't really would like it that close to my home. I think it's a fantastic idea. I am more concerned about how much more foot traffic, crime, that is a big concern. I have talked with several people and they are concerned themselves with this problem as well. We don't want to see it by our residential housing.
And sorry, I didn't catch your name.
Darla Meyer.
Darla?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Darla. In the back?
Yeah, I can see all the week, this is our neighborhood, and the foot traffic, this is what this, it's, like she said, it's 24/7. I mean, we've had altercations in the yard and, I don't like to argue with people saying, but we had one altercation, another altercation, and it is, this past summer, all we had was day after night of up and down the streets and the foot traffic and garbage and, but, the foot traffic, you get to the point, and it's 24 hours at 7 days. My sister works and how many nights did she end up having to close her bedroom window because the screaming and the fighting during the day. And then somebody stepping in my yard demanding that I give them the cell phone to call the RCMP and getting very angry at me because I'm not giving them my phone. And I don't know, we're senior citizens. Our whole neighborhood is senior citizens. The lady next door to us is 87 years old. Like, I'm not against the shelter, but what do we do about
Residential, we feel like we're
foot traffic and
we're overabundant
altercations
already.
and
We own property down there. We live there. But there's people cutting through our yard every day from Railway Avenue to get to the back alley instead of walking another 100 feet and using the street. You can tell them until you're blue in the face, they don't listen. And enough is enough. I mean, I respect what they're trying to do for those people. But where did it come from? Like some of them are from Alberta somewhere. They kicked out of the town where they live, so they all end up in Nipawin.
I'll just get, first, the lady at the back. I didn't catch your name.
Donna Arsenault.
Donna. And your name, sir?
Rock.
Rock.
By the same last name.
Okay. Thank you.
I want to say a little bit on that. We're working on our own police force. I started in Manitoba, Moose Lake and this way. We're going to try and get our own police force going to help the policemen. Because there's not enough of them. They don't, even where I'm from, they don't come when we call them. So we're going to have to do it ourselves.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm saying the same. It's a good thing that it happened, but the traffic is getting ridiculous. I got grandkids come to our house and they watch people on the street in the middle of the day shoot up. Like, we don't need that. They can build it, but build it somewhere else, not in our neighborhood. And I'm sick of picking up needles in the back alley.
Okay. And your name, sorry?
Les Bladden.
Thank you, Les. A second time I'll ask, is there anyone who wishes to speak against the matter?
Yeah, I kind of agree. I'm Ivan Peterson. I kind of agree with Les here. The traffic around there and my back alley too. It's pretty busy back there. I definitely agree. It's good to build a shelter for them. I do feel sorry for people out there in the cold. I do have a heart for them. It is hard. But even as I grew up as a young boy, my dad always told me, why do we get into so much trouble? Because, an idle mind is the devil's playground, I'll tell you. Because if you can't, you got to work. And if you just lay around all day 24/7, you get into so much trouble, and pretty soon you're on drugs and you're on this and that. They need a place for them to have help. But yeah, like there's more people coming in here, and a lot of people just don't want to work. Where's their worth ethic? Everybody's capable of working.
Of course.
But I see so much of it, people just don't want to work anymore. They just lay around and, I mean, like you say.
Well, the people that come, like the East Indians, they're taking all the dogs. They don't give anybody a chance. Everywhere you go, you see them. That's where the people, they apply, they don't take them, they take the advertisement because it's cheaper wages. That's what I hear.
Gentleman in the corner, you were gonna start earlier?
Harold Hop,
Sorry,
Harold Hop,
Harold, thank you.
in my back alley of 212 3rd Street West, they shut a whole bunch of houses down already because the one house was so bad. They had so many people going in there taking drugs and finally, I don't know what happened. Just like that, that whole thing was shut down, stopped right now. They boarded all the windows up and everything. And yet they go there every day and they find needles. They gotta go in the back alleys and pick up them needles, because people are still going in there. Trying to get into that house. I don't know what for, it's boarded up. Like, I don't know.
I have a question. All the boarded up houses in town, what's the outcome of some of that? To help with some of the trouble with this stuff?
So during this, we can take your question and reach out to you, but right now, we're just working on the discretionary use.
Okay.
So that'd be something, we'd be able to talk about at, potentially another meeting, if you want.
Forum.
Or the, yeah. So. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak against this matter?
I have something else I'd like to say. People are scared to go for a walk during the day. To keep warm. I was unloading groceries one day and I had a fella come up to me and he wasn't high or nothing. Wanted change. I said, sorry, I don't have change. He come right into my yard. Then he turned around and called me all kind of vulgar names and got all huffy puffy. And I said, excuse me, you're on my property. And this seems to be an ongoing thing too. Like they're coming by, they've got their hands out and you're busy yourself. I have 3 grandkids that live with me. My kids are scared to go outside and play sometimes because of all the yelling and screaming and hollering going on in the neighborhood. And that's at 6 o'clock at night, 7 o'clock at night. I mean, that's terrible when you got to be scared in your own community. And I'm just wondering if this is going to bring more people or more trouble in our residential areas.
That's definitely not something we'll be able to answer today,
No, I know.
so. Okay, a final time, I would ask if there's anyone who wishes to speak against this matter. Okay. Go ahead.
Where is the finances gonna come for that addition on that building?
That'll be something that the Oasis will look at on
The
their,
town is not gonna invest any money in
I
that.
can speak, like, we can speak on that actually. So we write grants for all of our funding. So right now the shelter is operational for this year, based on a grant. So no money would come from the town for the building, for the operation, any of that kind of stuff.
Are they staying ahead of their property taxes over there? I heard they were
At the
getting out
Oasis,
of hand there a couple of years ago.
we are on track.
Okay.
Will this shelter be, eventually become a full-time overnight shelter, like with rooms? Facilities?
So the existing proposal that we're discussing this evening, is for a building, where we would not have rooms. It's a big open space. It would have, yeah, yeah. So it's a little bit different, a warm-up shelter compared to, a typical shelter that we might see with cots and things like that, is a little bit different. So it's just a place for people to warm up. We've actually already had a case, it's not even that cold out yet, of a young man with frostbite who came to our door the other day. And we had to take him up to the hospital. So, you know, we're gonna experience more of that. So it's just kind of a place for people to warm up.
And what's the capacity gonna be when it's done?
I'm not 100% sure on that. I know that right now we could comfortably have about 20 people, because we're operating out of the front part of, our center right now. So we're hoping that we can increase that by at least 10, 15, because we're averaging, some nights up to 19, 20 people. And it's not even that cold out. So we're suspecting that that number is gonna rise as the weather increasingly gets colder. So we'd like to aim for 30, 35 people to be there comfortably, possibly more.
Okay. So we're gonna close off then on the development permit 25-35 and move on to our second discretionary use. So development permit 25-36 discretionary use. I would ask Maria to introduce the matter under consideration.
Thank you. So this is a request for a multi-unit building. The current building is a church, and the developer there is looking at doing a remodel there and turning it into a 3-unit apartment. And then being able to rent it out to the community as additional housing.
Okay. Council can request any further information from administration.
You can speak to Jeff if he wants to add anything to that.
Sure. I was nodding, like, good description.
Okay.
The proponent is gonna propose 6 parking spaces on site. There's 5 parking spaces required from zoning, but he's providing 1 extra, meeting all zoning requirements.
Okay. All right. I would ask, is there anyone who wishes to speak in favor of this matter? A second time, I'll ask if there's anyone who wishes to speak in favor of this matter.
I actually will. 'Cause I deal with the housing part of thing. I think any kind of extra units or housing for individuals in our community is always a positive thing.
Thank you. The third, oh,
I vote for saying that, and everything too. We can always build a shelter out of town if the traffic are bothering them too much. People can go live out there. Nothing wrong with that. They get paid to go live out there. That's what the First Nation said. Give them a little job and keep at it and try to pull them out of the drugs.
okay, thank you. Okay, a third and final time, I'll ask if there's anyone who wishes to speak in favor of this matter. I would ask if there's anyone who wishes to speak against this matter. A second time, I'll ask if there's anyone who wishes to speak against this matter. A third and final time, I'll ask if there's anyone who wishes to speak against the matter. Okay. I now declare the public hearing closed at 8:14 p.m.
Nobody wants to hear about the water and sewer rates?
I do.
They're exciting.
All right, that the public hearing be adjourned and the regular meeting of council resumed at 8:15 p.m. Councilor Newberg.
Also. I think I missed another conflict in this bylaw. Yeah.
On this one?
1206-25, it has to do with the water rates changing with the residential
12.
and tenant. You're talking about the bylaw.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bylaw. Yeah,
Is
15.1.
15.1.
Okay.
yes,
We'll get that updated on your phone.
thank you.
Okay. Kylie has moved. All those in favor? That's carried. That the council of the town of Nipawin hereby approves discretionary use application 25-35 for a year-round shelter as an accessory discretionary use to a community center as recommended by the land planner, and that given the proposed use of the building, its proposed location on a site away from the street, and its location away from the immediate downtown, the town will not enforce architectural controls with respect to tin siding on the street facing elevation. Councillor Stewart. Okay, I'll maybe let Jeff start us off.
I don't have anything additional to add. I mean, we've heard a lot of good conversation. If there's any questions that council has, I'm happy to answer.
Okay, Jeff.
I'm just gonna have comments. Lots of good arguments, right, for and against it, but the reality is Oasis is doing good work. People need help. And the reality is a shelter, whether it's there or not, doesn't change the fact that the people are there, right? So, the argument is for more crime and everything, and perhaps we can work with other powers to be to have a greater enforcement into the area, but I do think that this needs to go forward, right? The year-round shelter, year-round emergency shelter, year-round warm-up shelter, there's language matters sometimes, and that's what I always worry about when I see something like this, right? Does it have to be called a year-round shelter? Can it be a year-round warm-up shelter? Because there's a homeless shelter is different than a warm-up shelter.
Exactly.
When it comes to this.
Yeah.
And that matters when we're doing this. So that'd be my thought is, does it matter if we call it year-round warm-up shelter?
In the other people's eyes, it's gonna matter.
And maybe the government's eyes, it might matter, right?
Well,
Because it's
we
the grant fund.
Yeah.
Does it need a name? That's already the Oasis, and that's self-explanatory.
Well, no, it's not. It's not self-explanatory. You go to a government, they don't know what the Oasis is, right? So when you're looking at something like this, a year-round emergency shelter and a year-round homeless shelter, what I'm trying to get at is different, right? But year-round shelter is kind of sticking right in between the two. So which one are we doing?
It does make it confusing.
Yeah.
But in the background, it does say permanent style warm-up shelter to help people in need. So is that the way the bylaw should read?
Good question.
Jeff, can you?
I can just add that when we did the zoning bylaw amendment, we had language put in the zoning bylaw about the definition of what it was,
Oh,
and that it was the overnight warm-up shelter.
Okay.
That it's
That's right,
not
I
a.
I remember having this conversation. Yeah.
Yeah,
So that doesn't
we
change.
do have that definition in there. It doesn't show up in the application, but it is in the zoning bylaw.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Even better. Even better. So good.
Kylie?
I have one question, and you would be able to answer this, probably actually for me, with this proposed plan, is there going to be strict time constraints on it? A lot of the people were saying there's 24/7 traffic there. And I'm just wondering, I thought it was supposed to be closed at a certain point.
And it is.
And
So I'm not going to say I don't know what the traffic is from. But what I can say is during the day from 9 to 5 when we're open, we are servicing between 40 and 50 individuals a day come to our door. So foot traffic during that time, absolutely. They're coming for emergent needs, for food, use of a washroom, something to drink. So throughout those times, there's going to be foot traffic. We are a community center. People are accessing services. There's vehicles as well and families and kids who also access the center. The shelter is open currently, and would most likely remain the same with the hours from 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. The shelter is in the front of the building. As far as foot traffic, going on people's lawns and such, I'm sure that everybody's had somebody cut across their lawn. I know that area might be a little bit much. I don't think it's just from the shelter. I think just getting to the center at all, that's not something we can really police. But the shelter is open from 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. And during that time, when people come into the shelter, the only time that they are exiting the shelter is with staff supervision. We have designated smoking times for people. So they're not up or going down to the houses. We do have 2 lots in between us, going down the one way. So houses down there, if people are conversating outside, shouldn't hear them, I wouldn't think, maybe in the summer months, but the shelter's not open in the summer. So I'm not sure, how we can be responsible for policing people and where they're walking and where they're deciding to argue. But they are monitored in between the 8 to 8 time with staff with them. So I don't know if that answered that. Kind of rambling.
Any other questions or comments? Jeff?
The only other piece I could add, currently there's no sidewalk on Railway Avenue. So it makes sense that, given that it's also the truck route and there's a lot of heavy vehicle traffic, that people would take the back alley to get to the Oasis instead of walking on Railway Avenue, just given all the traffic. I don't know if there is sidewalks on First Avenue, so I don't know if we could try to, or if the Oasis would be willing to try to have people use that sidewalk maybe instead of cutting down the back alley. I don't know.
And we do have steps that go from the front to the side of our building that we keep shoveled, and I put salt on them constantly throughout the winter to try to have people using that coming from the street so that they aren't walking on people's lawns. Right, so we do have the stairs there, they're well maintained, and I take care of them personally, so it's trying to have people access that because our office doors are on the side closest to the dealership there. So when people come for food bags or bathroom or anything like that, that's primarily the door that they're using.
Oh, Les?
My house next to the high school.
Yeah, you'll have the same traffic.
Yeah,
across
I
the
get foot traffic too.
Yeah.
It's everywhere.
I will add that I completely agree, Jeff. People need help.
Absolutely.
Part of what we as a council are here to do is to help those who need it. And this is a small part in that. And I understand there were, every person who spoke against this didn't want it in their backyard. But none of them were willing to offer a solution on where to put it. Put it anywhere else, but not in my backyard. And unfortunately, it has to be somewhere. And when you have an organization like the Oasis, who is willing to take on all of the extra work to be a part of helping these people in our community, it makes sense for it to be at their location. So
I think we're fortunate to have the people
yes,
to take on that role, task, or just take it on, period. To take these people, because as much as everyone says we don't want them in our backyard, well, it's the truth. We don't, but there's people who are gonna help them. That's a great thing. So we need that.
Joyce.
I just wanted to mention, I noticed that you said you did help a couple of people get into their own home. And I have been reading a lot of articles on what, I think there was a program in the States that was called Roof First. So they help with addictions and things like that is after they get a place to stay and they have the shelter and to look after their needs, and then they can work on the other part that they need to work on to be successful.
And
So I think
yeah.
it's in the right area. I,
Thank you.
and I do understand that, yes, the backyard thing, and probably each one of us would say the same thing as the people that were sitting. But it is a need, an unfortunate need.
So are there any other?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with, what the discussion, I appreciate everyone that came out tonight to speak, both for and against. I would say that it sounds to me like the Oasis Center wants to be a good neighbor, and I really appreciated hearing all the different nations and communities that really want to be a part of the solution in our community. So that makes me hopeful, and I hope, I mean, you're never going to solve the problem completely, but I hope the Oasis can continue to be a good neighbor in that area and work with the residents to find some sort of a resolution. But yeah, I appreciated hearing everyone that came out and spoke today. So.
Any last questions or comments?
And maybe just from like I agree with what Lisa said. I appreciated hearing everything. Everything was valid, both sides. You understood the arguments being said. But I think she's right with like the Oasis having good relationships with the neighboring, neighborhood and people that live there. Maybe something, because the one thing that I was getting from the conversation is a lot of talking about the back alleys going in their yards. Maybe it's something as simple as the shelter, the access is from the front, not the back. Maybe it's getting them to walk on that alley or the sidewalk that is in front of the Oasis instead of trying to go down the back alleys. Maybe just something as simple as that the Oasis tries to with their new setup, that the entrance to gain entry is from the front, not the back. That the back would maybe be where you have the secured, you go out for a smoke, but it's with staff kind of thing. And that maybe will cut down some of that traffic. You can only gain entry from the front. Walking down the back alley isn't going to be as effective. So maybe that's just a simple solution in trying to make it work for everybody a little bit better too.
Okay. Any last questions or comments? All right, we're gonna ask the question. All those in favor? It's carried. That the council of the town of Nipawin hereby approves discretionary use application 25-36 for a multi-unit dwelling on the property located at lots 2 and 3, block 22, plan CP 3638 as recommended by the land planner. Councillor Blair. Okay. Any questions, comments? I know that the gallery didn't want to speak either way on this one, except a little bit on the increase in housing, so. Yeah.
I was just curious about the architectural design of it. Is there gonna be any changes? Is it gonna affect any bylaws?
The plan is to remove the steeples off the church, that way those aren't there anymore. Other than that, nothing is proposed. He hasn't mentioned to me, I guess, that level of detail. He just mentioned that he would be removed.
So that could still be to come.
Right.
Any other questions or comments?
Other than I would love to see it revitalized in that area, so.
Yeah, I think that the church has been empty as long as I've been here, which isn't very long, but long enough that I've driven by it many times. So. All right, all those in favor? That's carried. That bylaw number 1206/25 being a bylaw to fix rates to be charged for the use and consumption of water and to fix the rates to be charged by way of rent or service charge for the use of the sewer facilities be read a second time. Councillor Vic. Now, normally Michelle would speak to this. Maria, do you have a little bit?
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of changes to this other than changing the effective date and just adding in the verbiage that tenants or occupants not be permitted to have utility accounts in their name for residential purposes. Other than that, it's just a little bit of a few dates that have changed and the rest remains the same.
Okay. Do we have any questions or comments for this second reading? All right. All those in favor? That's carried. That bylaw number 1206/25 being a bylaw to fix rates to be charged for the use and consumption of water and to fix the rates to be charged by way of rent or service charge for the use of the sewer facilities be read a third time and finally adopted. Councillor Watts. All those in favor? That's carried. That bylaw number 1209/25 being a bylaw to repeal bylaws be introduced and read a first time. Councillor Stewart. Maria, did you want to just introduce this for me?
I actually don't have anything to add to it other than that it is exactly what it says. It's just the repeal bylaw. Did you have anything else on it, Jeff? Or?
Nope, it's just, ironically, you gotta pass a bylaw to repeal bylaws, so.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's just the taxes.
for taxes.
Very standard.
Anybody have any questions or comments?
Hey, government.
Yeah, exactly.
Paperwork.
Okay, all those in favor? It's carried. That bylaw number 1209/25 be read a second time. Councillor Blair. Everybody give it a quick read, it's so in depth. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? It's carried. That bylaw number 1209/25 be given 3 readings at this meeting. Councillor Bass. All those in favor? That's carried. That bylaw number 1209/25 being a bylaw to repeal bylaws be read a third time and finally adopted. Councillor Newbar. Last chance, any questions or comments? All those in favor? That's it for the bylaws. So moving on to the roundtable. And why don't we start with Les today?
We happened to walk up and the SUMA conference, I guess you could call it. I guess there was some good information in there.
From what you could hear.
But it's good to go into those things because it was a good networking opportunity, and I think we met some more people, and Nipawin was represented pretty well at that meeting. I think there was 4 of us there. So, other than that, just putting in November.
Perfect, thank you. We're actually gonna change direction, so we'll go to Kylie next.
I didn't have any meetings since I was last in council, which feels like it wasn't that long ago. Actually, we're over here. My library board meeting got canceled because too many people are sick. And same with the regional meeting in PA got also rescheduled. We did go to Red Deer last weekend, checked out a honey producing plant where Trevor sells all of his honey to, which was kind of cool. Went to a wedding, and then last weekend, yeah, we went to a honeybee conference, and I went shopping. So that's all I did.
Thank you, Kylie. Lisa?
Yeah, no, unfortunately, I've had a very busy work schedule, so it's been giving me some conflict, unfortunately, with my museum and Wapiti meetings. So I know the Wapiti Resort is doing their steak fundraiser, sold out this coming weekend. So that's really great news for them, but nothing else from your part.
Great, thank you. Joyce?
Well, like Les said, we did attend the SUMA meeting in Walcott. And one of the things that I got out of it, they were talking about policy and bylaws. They're renewing the Police Act, which is from the 1980s. So I think it's time. Yeah. And the other thing, I was gonna check with Michelle, actually. They mentioned the SUMA website, and there's access available for council, and we should be getting that code so we can get in more information than what is just on the website. And the other thing I did was on November 19th is I did attend the Twin Lakes meeting Wednesday evening. And it was a good meeting. We did talk about the bylaw that's coming up for the cannabis store, possibly. And it did pass there. They had good discussion. I was actually quite surprised at some of the comments. The other thing that was a surprise there is a Sask energy or power bill that for the heliport that's in the tune of about 27,000. That surprised everybody, but apparently there is money to pay for that, but they're going to do some double checking to make sure it's not a double bill. Okay. Other than that, I'm glad that there's this new program for seniors because I fell. So I want to learn how I can fall again.
Send you a place that could choose.
Yes.
You did a good job at that.
Thank you, Joyce. Jeff?
I don't have anything new really to report. I wasn't able to make the Twin Lakes, so Joyce was able to go to the meeting, and I was really concerned about that one bill, but thanks for going and figuring that all out, right? Sometimes family has to come first, right? And but other than that, I don't have much to say. Lots of things I could tell personally and sit here for an anecdote or two, but I'll just leave it.
Okay. Thank you, Jeff. Myself, on November 11th, I did attend our Remembrance Day ceremony and luncheon. And as Joyce and Les pointed out, on November 12th was the SUMA regional meeting. And despite it being difficult to hear a lot of the speakers, they were having a lot of audio issues. I do have a few notes that I made. So there were attendees there from Sask Parks and Recreation, Sask Water, SUMA Sure, Kinetic GPO, and SUMA Invest. So that's in addition to all the other municipalities in our area that were able to attend. So it is a good opportunity for networking and reaching out to some of these other organizations. There were also some other discussion highlights I picked up on. School playground grants. There's up to $50,000 available for schools to get playground equipment. The city caucus has been concentrating on revenue sharing, mental health, and public safety. The town caucus is all about infrastructure, doctor recruitment, and community safety. And the village caucus is mostly worried about infrastructure priorities. They did some advocacy in Ottawa with FCM. And there they talked about infrastructure, affordable housing, and safer communities. There's also, they're looking at reestablishing RETAs. So that was discussed there. So that's regional economic development groups. So something that I think we've briefly touched on with, Twin Lakes potentially or something like that down the road. They also had mentioned the upcoming SUMA convention. So that's April 12th to 15th. So put it in your calendars. Hopefully we could potentially all go. That would be pretty excellent if we could have a full council there.
Yeah.
Do your best.
I'll have to quit.
In April.
They gotta
Yeah,
call me.
yeah.
That's all I know.
There you go.
So some of the advocacy priorities that they have that they're going on right now is, and I didn't get much in terms of just titles on some of them. Mental health and addictions, homelessness, healthcare recruitment and retention. They talked about infrastructure funding, the ISIP replacement. So there's no new intakes or anything, and the province has committed to their 1/3 funding share. So hopefully the federal government will come up with something in the future for that. Municipal Act amendments, public notices are still requiring newspaper publications. And that's getting more and more difficult and less effective really in our digital world. So they're looking at maybe making some changes there. Also, there's no subclasses for properties yet, and they're looking at maybe
For the
adding
towns.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, great.
Landfills and derelict buildings, they talked about there being more and more regulations as time goes on and no funding increases. So they're really gonna be pushing for more funding. And no updates on demolition funding. So that was actually a nod directly to us. They're still pushing for it right now. Policy and bylaw enforcement, as Joyce mentioned, they are looking to renew the 30-year-old Police Act. They're also talking about an e-court system proposed to streamline bylaw enforcement. What that'll look like, it's hard to say. Municipal Eco Action Center. So a center where we'd be able to find support for environmental initiatives. SAMA also did a presentation on the 2025 trends for taxes. What they're seeing this year is residential is seeing a 7% increase, and that's average across the province. Commercial is 3%, and large towns are seeing an average of 5%. So that's what they're seeing right now. And that kind of covers everything that we went through at that regional meeting. On November 13th, the staff sergeant was able to attend a meeting here at the chambers. Myself and Joyce was there. And Les, yeah. So had a good opportunity to have some conversations. Also on November 13th was our operations committee meeting. So we talked about the pilot program, the landfill agreements, and everything that we went through today. And personally, on November 21st, I attended the Chamber and Health Foundation Christmas party. Had a pretty good time there at the Legion. I think I saw Stacy there as well. Also just want to put out a congratulations. I know Derek got one. We're going to pass one on to Paul on his premier's commendation. So I know you don't do it for the commendations, but it's well deserved.
Well, and just to be clear, it was not for me, it was for my department. The guys did the firefighting, I just write all the reports.
Yeah. So
thank
you to you and your department.
Thanks for the good reports.
Good.
So,
and that's it for me. So Stacy.
I had the operations meeting and I went to the chamber gala and that sums it up.
All right, well, thank you, everybody.
I think it sounds easier than that.
All right, that the regular council meeting of November 24th, 2025 be closed.
Public forum.
Oh, yeah, public forum.
We have public.
We actually have a public today.
Oh.
Is there anything you'd like to add?
I just thank you very much for the support and consideration and listening to all of us and the continued support for the work that we do at the Oasis. It's much appreciated. That's all.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for the work you do.
Thank you, yes,
Thank you.
absolutely.
All right. Now, that the regular council meeting of November 24th, 2025 be closed with Mayor Zacharias in the chair pursuant to section 122A of the Municipalities Act and citing exemptions contained in the Local Authority Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act under section 16 advice from officials at 8:46